Today we'll be going over the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam. I got the certification earlier over the summer and I just wanted to go over the different resources I used. So by the end of this video, you will have the resources and the techniques that I used to pass this exam, but if you use this methodology, you will greatly increase your chances of passing. So let's get started. Yes, the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner certification, also known as the CCP, is the entry-level cloud certification for AWS. If you aren't aware, AWS is Amazon Web Services. It is one of the most dominant cloud companies in the entire world. So if you are interested in going into cloud, this is a very useful certification to have to kind of get you into their ecosystem before you go into one of their deeper certifications. So the Cloud Practitioner, it's a pretty shallow certification in terms of it doesn't go very deep into a lot of topics, but it is very wide. So it covers a lot of material that you kind of just need to know on a surface level. It's typically used so that the people in those non-technical departments are familiar with the features without having to go deep into it. So if you are somebody that's looking for a more technical certification, this is kind of like a good just entry-level cert before going deeper. So the way that I study for the AWS certification is that I use their free course, which I will link down in the description box. It was a 6-hour course. It was very interactive. I enjoyed it a lot. They had videos and they kind of had little activities, and it covered a lot of the material on the test, but I wouldn't say it covered all. Obviously it's only 6 hours, so it's very light. If you are somebody that does not have like a cloud background, or if you haven't done any other cloud certifications, I definitely would suggest doing a deeper course before doing this one. I would suggest the one like the Stefan Marique. I'm probably butchering his name, but the link will be down in the description box on Udemy. His course is very highly rated and is closer to more like 17 hours of material, so he does a much more deeper dive. So that way, if you aren't familiar with the topics, you will get a much better coverage in a course like that one. So after doing the course, I always love a good practice test. So I use the WizLabs practice test. I will link them down below. And I follow the same methodology that I used when I studied for my A+. So once I got a question wrong, I would make a flashcard for it within Anki. Anki is a program that you use where you can put in flashcards, but when you go to review the flashcards, you get 3 buttons. So you get one that's kind of like, I forget the exact labels on the buttons, but it's kind of like easy, medium, hard. So basically, the harder that you rate the question, the quicker that you will get it again. So if you didn't get it right, or if it took you a while to get it, it might give it back to you again in like a minute or within 5 minutes. Whereas if you say it's easy, it might wait like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, sometimes even a day, depending how much you got it correct. And so with that, you kind of get spaced repetition. So when I'm doing those practice cards, every question that I get wrong, I make a flashcard for it. But also what I do is I make sure I use practice tests like the ones on WizLabs, because they give you an explanation for what you got wrong. And a lot of times when you're reading that explanation, so you might get the question that you got wrong explained for you, but also it might give you more information that you didn't know either. So what I do is I make flashcards for those too. So say you're doing a practice question and you get a question wrong about AWS Glacier storage, but while you're doing it in the blurb, you're also getting new information that you didn't know about AWS S3 or EBS. You can make flashcards for those as well, so that way you're covering all of your bases. So what I do is I go through one test. Once I go through and I make all the flashcards for A, everything that I got wrong, but B, everything that I learned in the explanations, I will then stop and review all of my flashcards for that section. And I will keep doing those, so whether it takes me a day or 2 until it gets to the point where I'm around like 90%, I would say, on those flashcards, and then I would move on to the next test. And then same thing, everything I get wrong, we make new flashcards. And again, the nice thing about Anki is that it's spaced repetition. So even though you were getting like that 90% right, after a couple days, Anki will start giving you those cards again just to make sure that you're still remembering them. So don't get nervous if it's something that like you reviewed it early on, because you're using that system. It's going to keep going back and bringing up those old cards, so that way that they aren't getting buried behind the newer cards. Alright, so once you're at the end and you're feeling pretty comfortable, you're getting around like, I would say above like 85-90% on the WizLab exams, you can go ahead and take your certification exam. It's not a super hard test. It's about 65 questions that you have to do in 90 minutes. They don't have anything that's like simulations. It's all multiple choice questions. If you're doing the WizLabs test, they are very similar to the actual test questions, so you should be very well prepared. I was very pleasantly surprised with how close it aligned with WizLabs and the actual test. And you will be fully prepared. That's how I passed my certification, and those are my tips for you guys if you are going to do it too. If you are interested in any more certification tips or just general tech career tips, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next video.